reason I'm doing this video today is I'm a longtime professor, and I've noticed that a lot of my students have really terrible habits when they first come to class. And what I'm going to try to address today is a few things that'll make your life as a young painter really a lot easier, a lot more fun, and you'll get a lot better. I change clothes when I'm in the studio, so I don't have to worry about wrecking good clothes. And so I got shoes and my apron and clothes that I always wear in the studio so I can make a mess and not worry about it. I save all sorts of containers to put paint in and just clean them up at home and then bring them into the studio and I use them. And the trick that I always do is the color that's inside, I'll put a little bit of the color on top so I know what's inside the container. And so I save all sorts of jars and containers for paint and use them up and then throw them away. There's glitter everywhere in my studio. Well, small ones in a small jar and big ones. And for the most part, things that are flats, things that are more detail brushes, brushes that I've gotten at garage sales. When I'm in the studio, I like to multitask a lot. And so what I do is I clean my brush, getting rid of the extra paint, and wash my hands at the same time. And so I'll just start with the water, put some water on it, and then I'll go to some soap that's right here, and then run my brush through the soap a little bit. Clean the brush, and also clean my hands at the same time. And so that works pretty good. And then get rid of the soap on the brush, and now you got a nice soft brush for the next time you're going to be painting. And you shape it a little bit, and then you put it where you're going to dry the brushes. If you don't clean your brushes, they turn into hammers. Hard as a rock. That's because I didn't clean it. One of the things I know is some of the habits that students start off with, and they make doing art harder for themselves. They get tired out. They can't concentrate as long as they should or could. And so one of the things that you can do when you're first starting out, your very first day, your very first moments standing in front of an easel and painting, to set up your paint area favoring the hand that you use. Like if your table should be on the right side if you're right-handed, and your little table, your taboret table it's called, if you're left-handed like myself, should be on the left side. And the reason that you're doing that is to save energy and to stay in contact with the painting. Okay, so I'll show you how I work with my palette, and you can sort of see the logic. I have everything set up here so that I can go back and forth really easily. I'm always in contact with the painting. I'm not having to go across my body to get water or brushes or paints or anything like that. So I have my paints, and I have my palette here, and water here, and then I go directly to the canvas. I don't have to think about it, and I can paint for hours this way. And that's the palette setup. Okay, does that make sense to you all? Okay. Also in my painting setup, I always have a rag, either on my lap or on someplace close, because another thing that people will do is they'll have their brush and it'll be completely clogged with paint, and half the time they're putting too much paint on the canvas at any one time. And so what you can do is, if you have your rag here, you can go to it. It's always convenient. It's always right there. So the trick is to stay in contact with the painting. And so half the time I really can see everything on the palette through my peripheral vision. I can go very quickly, I can go really fast and keep painting, and it's not a lot of work. And so the idea here is efficiency and saving energy. Okay? Good. I like to use disposable palettes because it's more convenient, and you can get rid of paint that's just hanging around, and you can have a clean start. And so what I'll do often is I'll have a lot of paint and it's all done with, and I'm done with my painting session, just wad it up and throw it away, and here's yesterday's paint, and then I wad that up and throw it away, and voila, I've got a new palette and I'm ready to go. One of the things that I use a lot is a painter's bridge, and I noticed that a lot of my students and myself, when you're painting on a painting, sometimes what will happen is you'll be painting away and you'll drag your hand through the paint, and all of a sudden the painting is on your hand, and then you've screwed up a bunch of your image. And so what a good invention, I found this from another artist who told me about it, is make yourself a painter's bridge. And the painter's bridge is real simple. It's a piece of wood with some sides on it. I got this out of this wood out of the trash. And so what you do is you put your painter's bridge down there, so you see it's not touching the painting. And then you go to your palette, and then you lean against it, and you do your detail painting, and your hand never touches the painting. This is the painter's bridge. As much as possible in your studio, put everything on wheels. So even if you have a big table, you can move it around really easy. One of the most boring things in the studio is watching paint dry. And so what I do is I have stuff to read while I'm waiting for the paint to dry, and I don't mess something up if I start to paint too early and something's still wet. And so I'll just read my magazines and my books, and sometimes play guitar. Well, I hope today's lessons help you out a little bit. Some of these lessons were really hard won on my part. It took me years to figure some of this stuff out, and you've gotten it in a minute or two. So good luck.